ACC Media Days. We talking to 305. All right, what's going on, everybody, man? Welcome back to a special edition live. I know I didn't post this anywhere, man, but we're going live, special edition. I don't know how good it'll be. I'm in the hotel, but I am at ACC Media Days. All right, so I just wanted to let you guys know, covering college football, obviously covering my Hurricanes. Man, I didn't get a chance to see them, so you guys will not see footage, Mario Cristobal on the channel or anything like that. I didn't have it this morning, but we got her after they went. All right, I am here for Georgia Tech, but I got to talk about my Hurricanes, my favorite team, man. But before we do that, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. You guys have the video. And I want to give a shout out before we begin to a guy that's doing a really great job in the sporting game. And y'all know what we're about here on the channel, man. We're all about giving people their credit where credit is due and giving platforms, you know what I'm saying, the love that they deserve. And I want to just get a love today to Canes Insight, man. Got a chance to meet him up close and personal. I know some multiple people that are on this site. I think the guy name is Danny that I got the chance to meet today on the way out. Just want to say shout out to you, brother. Y'all do a great job with Canes Insight. This is where I go personally when I'm trying to get plugged in and knowing about the Hurricanes, man. They've done a great job already. So you guys, make sure you guys go subscribe to the Hurricanes, getting footage, seeing in a new light. This is Danny right here, as you guys can see. I think he's doing a superb job, in my humble opinion. Everything that he's doing. Won't talk about his backstory or what he has going on, but we'll say it was a pleasure to meet him up close and personal. Really enjoyed it, as I said, and a guy that I think just very down to earth. Like, say what you want about Miami and my Hurricanes, but and he even said it when it comes to the players, they're just people, not people pleasers, but they're people. They are good with people, and I think that's the biggest thing I took away today. From the staff, from obviously people that work with them, obviously people that cover them, they know how to be respectful. They know how to do things the right way, man. So I just want to give him a shout out today, man. I will continue to watch their coverage. I don't plan to use any of the coverage, of course. They do a lot of hard work. Me being a media professional myself, covering Georgia Tech on SI and being on Locked on Georgia Tech, I know how hard it is, man, to cover at the rate that they do, man. But this is where I always be going for my content. And any Hurricanes fan that follow me that want to tap in, this is the place to go. He did a really great job today interviewing Mario Cristobal, interviewing Darian Mensah, interviewing Mark Fletcher, and all these boys, man. Very bright future. I'm excited for my Hurricanes, man. But let's get into the nitty gritty. As I said, but go like, comment, subscribe to that guy right there. He does a great job. Let's start off with what Mario Cristobal had to say today. All right. And you guys know that Miami's getting a lot of hype right now, right? That is the current condition of my Miami Hurricanes. A lot of hype, which rightfully so. You are a national championship runner-up. You made the run. They were number 10 seed last year. They went 10-2. And I think they're trying to erase that. What I do love about what Mario Cristobal had to say today is he's keeping it real, right? And he's saying we're not feeding into that garbage. We're not feeding into everything that's being said about us. We got to go out there and work, right? And that's the right mindset that you have to have. This is a new-look team. It ain't the same, right? We do got Malachi Tony coming back, but we got a new quarterback, right? We got new wide receivers coming in here, new defense now. It's going to look a lot different. So he said, that's complete garbage. Our coaches, our organization are completely committed to getting absolute best out of our players. Not narratives, not storylines, not predictions. The Canes are ready to roll, so let's get this thing going. That's it. Again, it's the mindset that you want to have when it comes down to it. You want your team to be ready to go. You want your team to not buy into all of the hoopla, right? Because when you buy in that rat poison, then you see what happens. And I'm not trying to come for Clemson, but you see last year, Clemson was one of those teams that was pegged to win it. Right, Texas was one of those teams that was pegged to win it, right? And I ain't saying they bought into it, but that hype can be detrimental, right? And I feel like Mario sees that, he recognizes that, and he's like, yo, we're committed to getting better each and every day. We're not committed to the garbage of what we're seeing. It is what it is. You're going to say what you're going to say, but at the end of the day, I got a program to run, I got a team to run that's going to run at a very high level, regardless of what you guys have to say about this. We don't care. We're not buying into the rat poison. Call it cliche, call it for what you want to call it, but I think he does a great job of establishing this day one, them being at ACC Media Days, in my humble opinion. All right, next up, I want to talk about Darian Mensah, okay? Darian Minter has found quarterback heaven just like Cam and Carson Beck did working with offensive coordinator Shannon Dawson. He says, what I love most is he leaves the quarterback to be free, to own the offense. I've stepped into that. Whatever you like to do, that's what the offense is going to be. He creates the offense around what I want to do. Leave me free to do what I want. What that tells me from that quote and how I read and I see that is this offense is predicated and is run around me, right? More so players instead of plays, right? And not all offensive coordinators are going to do that. Most offensive coordinators are going to have the plays, have the system, and you better be able to fit in it. But it feels like Shannon Dawson is probably one of the most, I guess the operative word is adaptable offensive coordinators, in my humble opinion, because whoever he gets, they're successful in this offense. Whoever he gets a scheme around them, right? Think about last year, they did some things with Carson Beck, letting him run a little bit more, right? Feeding into the things that he does well, right? That's why Carson Beck had such a great year. Because remember, there was a jury still out on Carson Beck after what happened at Georgia towards the end of his tenure and his career there, right? So for me, I feel like he's doing it yet again. And Mensa can sense that already early on in spring practice, obviously in the summer, right? He can sense that, okay, this guy's going to do whatever it takes for me to be successful, cater the offense around me. I just need to play well. Not every offensive coordinator can honestly say that, right? And you look at Miami, there's tried and true forms. Carson Beck, Cam Ward, any quarterback they've gotten out of the portal, they've been able to have that success, right? And I think Darian Minter is going to be in that conversation, right? I think he's going to be in the conversation for preseason ACC Player of the Year, right? He has all that with what he did last year with, obviously, the Duke Blue Devils. You know what I'm saying? So he's going to be a guy ready to go. You know what I'm saying? And I can't wait to see what he does for my Hurricanes. I think he's poised. I think he's a guy that has that next level ability, and I think he's just getting started, right? Now, I'm not saying he's going to be staying with the Hurricanes. He's going to probably be going after this year, but he fits what we need. Now, I do want to run a clip. This is from Domo. I do want to run a clip of what he had to say, basically, of what Mario Cristobal said, you know, about just the offseason move to bring in Darian Minter. And I want to react to that quote, okay? So we
You know what, this is a guy we would love to pursue. Watching crossover tape with so many opponents that we had faced, we saw his level of talent, level of play, and what really, you know, took us by surprise in a great way was what an incredible young man he is. His levels of leadership, care factor, time invested in his craft, football IQ, just natural human IQ. Just an elite person along with the guys beside him. So, and we found ourselves also in a situation like in previous years where it wasn't time to take a portal quarterback. We feel going forward that now we are set in that room from a high school standpoint, you know, with what we have on the roster, what we have coming in. And I'll also say this, that every single year is different. Even though our foundation is the high school player, we're never going to deny ourselves the opportunity to get better as a program if there is a player that we can pick up in the portal that can help our program elevate.
So you heard what he said, right? Basically what he had to say is we're never going to deny ourselves the opportunity to get right. And Miami has this stigma of, oh, well, they're going to always go in the portal to get a quarterback. But you go and look at the guys they've recruited, right? Knox, they got Israel Abrams, they just got CJ Cypher, right? It feels like they're trying to build within the high school realm of it. You're not going to go all on high school quarterbacks if you don't believe in that. But I think for them the last 3 years, it's been advantageous to go get a veteran in there. I feel like you're going to always need a veteran, whether he's starting or he's a backup. For Miami, there's been veterans in there that they can plug and play. Not every veteran's a plug and play, right? But that has been the case the last few years for my Hurricanes. You know what I'm saying? So people talk about Miami and the stigma that they don't like to do the high school quarterbacks. They don't like to develop. They just go and get the guy. But I think he's obviously strong against that notion, and he's sitting there saying, hey, if it's there, we're going to get it. But we're trying to build from within what we already have. We're trying to build from development. We're trying to build from what we're going to bring in forms of recruits, right? And not all those guys are always ready. Some of those guys don't develop to the high level that you need them to, right? So I love that he made this statement, and I love that he obviously talked about this a little bit, you know, as well. So I think that's very important, you know, going forward. Like, they're not just always trying to get a portal quarterback. They're also trying to just make the team better, right? And hopefully we get to see a guy develop and become next level for Miami here in the short future. I think they will. There's a lot of talented guys they got, and they have the number 3 recruiting class for a reason, okay? For a reason, all right? So we'll leave that there. Next, obviously, comment that I want to talk a little bit about on the channel is Mark Fletcher, okay? Mark Fletcher, I told you, ACC Media Days. He's just staying hardworking, humble, consistent. You know I got his back always. Tony keeps getting love from the guys around him. The work that he's putting in hasn't gone unnoticed, and Fletcher made it clear he's behind him every step of the way, right? And we talked about a little bit on some of my other social media platforms of his daily routine, right? Getting up early, catching 200 passes, right? Getting stretched out, getting warmed up before even practice starts. That tells me that's a guy that wants it. That tells me that's a guy that's trying to avoid a sophomore slump. That tells me that's a guy that is willing to do whatever it takes to be the best, right? He's not just looking to be the best in ACC. He's not just looking to be one of the top receivers coaches. He's looking to be the best. And it starts about all the hard work he puts in. And it goes back to the point where I was talking about with King's Insight. They are very humble people, right? It does not matter all the success these guys are having. You can go approach them and have a conversation, right? You can go approach them and be able to talk to them. They're not filling themselves or smelling their own crap, as you would say, right? These are guys that are humble, hardworking, and doing everything that it takes, right? And I think last year, Mark Fletcher did a good job, right? I think like Tony might have had a mistake or something in the game. Just came around him and put his arm around him, right? Came around him and said, yo, bro, you good. We're going to need you to win this game. Like, all that stuff makes a difference. All that stuff matters, you know what I'm saying, at the end of the day. And when you have that, and you have the camaraderie and the cohesion amongst the team, it's a difference maker. It's a difference maker. And it makes all the difference in the world. And it's things that help out your program moving forward, in my humble opinion. So I just think that's what you need. That's what has to happen. And for him to continue to get that support from his staff, from his teammates, it just showed you how good Malachi Tony is. And he wasn't even there, right? It still was a topic of discussion for my Hurricanes. So I love this, the consistency, the humbleness. We need more of it with superstars. And we know when you think of Miami right now, you're thinking of Malachi Tony. That's just what it is. He is a superstar right now in the city of Miami, in Coral Gables, where I got a chance to visit. He's a superstar down there, and rightfully so. He's putting in the work, doing what he needs to do, and continuing to stand out while he's doing it, right? So great job there. No big surprise being able to see that and just seeing what he's doing at a very, very, very high level. Okay, we got a comment from Smokey, a Tennessee fan, says Miami is going to win the ACC. I do hope so, brother. I hope we do, right? I'm confident in it. Like I said, my only concern is just the interior of the defensive line. I know it's going to be led by Ahmad Moulton. I'm curious to see what he's going to be able to obviously do this year. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to be very intriguing to see the next level of his game, right? But I feel confident in the quarterback. I feel confident in the running backs with Mark Fletcher, Gerard Pringle. You know what I'm saying? All those boys, I feel comfortable with Cooper Barkate, you know, and Malachi Tony, Samario Wingo, and Dalen Upshaw, right? And all these guys coming in. I think, like I said, my only concern is defensive line, right? Is it good enough as it was last year? Last year had Akeem Mesendor and Ruben Bain Jr., right? But is it good enough to get back to where you want to go to this upcoming year? I'm not sure. You know what I'm saying? We got to see it. But I do feel confident. I'm not scared in the ACC, to be honest. I do feel confident in my Canes. All right, we got a Georgia Tech fan. Jackson defeat Miami Thugs in Charlotte. I wouldn't mind seeing Georgia Tech play Miami in Charlotte. But, man, why you got to call Thugs, though, man? You know what I'm saying? I like Georgia Tech, too, but why we got to call Miami Thugs? What have they done that's thuggish? You know what I'm saying? These are good boys. These boys not getting speeding tickets. Right? These boys not getting in trouble. You know what I'm saying? They doing everything they're supposed to do, man. You know what I'm saying? But, Uncle Junior, that would be a good game. But why you got to call them Thugs? Come on, Uncle Junior. I know you're a big-time supporter of the channel, man. So it's cool, but dang, bro, you ain't have to talk about them like that. All right, y'all. So as we kind of wrap up, you know what I'm saying, and we finish off, obviously, the Kings, pod for today before we obviously get up out of here, man. Like I said, just very impressed with just their mentality that they have, everything that they were saying today. It feels like it's a team that's on a collision course to finally maybe even win, you know what I'm saying, a ACC title, right? It feels like this is going to be the team to finally get that done. And I'm honestly, I'm excited about it. It's about time. We need it. And I want us to deliver and obviously get it done. You know what I'm saying? To be humbly honest with you. So I'm super excited. I think it will be a lot of fun. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. We'll pull up one more quote before we get on to obviously ACC and obviously the big thing today, which was the tiebreaker policy before we get up out of here. Let's see. Hold on, y'all. Talked about that. Oh, that might be all then. Okay, well, we'll talk about this. We'll talk about this friendship just a little bit before we get out of here. All right, so this is from Britt McMurphy. It says Miami quarterback Darren Mensa on having former Duke wide receiver Cooper Barkate at UM. It's great to go through some transition that's a little bit difficult with your best friend. We're like two peas in a pod. We just go and get it, do a lot of things off the field. I think that translates to our chemistry on the field. Yeah, 100%. Right. And it's going to be important because one of the biggest questions is who's going to emerge the opposite side of Malachi Tony. Now, I think this wide receiver room is loaded, but to go get Cooper Barkate was big for the Hurricanes because it answers that question. You notice the guy. Miami's like one of the only teams, I think, in college football that has two 1,000-yard receivers returning. Right? That's massive, bro. That makes a big difference. And when you have two studs on the outside or two studs you can move around, like that helps you, right? And most people gonna look at Cooper Barkade as, oh, Najeh, well, he's only a move the six guy. Nah, he's also a deep threat. He's also a pretty good route runner that can create separation, right? He's a guy that can do a whole bunch of different things, with the ball in his hands. Right, so you couple that with explosiveness of Malachi Tony, being able to run every single route in the route tree, being the deep threat too. It makes his offense explosive. It makes it another player that Mensa can go to, right, in the clutch, in critical plays, third down and longs, critical distances, and being able to deliver throughout. Right, that's massive moving forward for Miami. So I think that chemistry, them obviously figuring it out, new place, new destination, right, but being able to go for one last ride together. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to see what the boys are going to be able to do, man. So I'm super excited for it. And like I said, I think my Miami is going to make some noise this year. And I can't wait to see, what's next up, obviously, for the program. All right. But before we get out of here, we got to talk about this big time tiebreaker, man. I think I had it pulled up. Let me find it. 1 second before we close out the show for today. Appreciate everybody obviously tapping in. Okay. Let's see. All right, I think it was on here. Boom, boom. I remember seeing it. Maybe Bleacher Report erased it. Okay, I do have Brent McMurphy. Like, he had it on here. Okay, hold on, y'all. Okay, here we go. Because he had the thing. Okay, so last topic for today that I want to talk about before we get up off the show is a new football tiebreaker policy in the ACC, right? Duke got a lot of flack for this last year, y'all, but we're going to talk about the new tiebreaker, okay? So here's what it says via the ACC.com. The Atlantic Coastal Conference has announced a new football championship tiebreaker that will take effect beginning in 2026 season, reflecting the league's transition to a 9-game conference schedule and ensuring a fair and equitable process for determining participants in the ACC football championship game. The updated tie-breaking procedure is built on 3 guiding principles. Head-to-head results will always matter most. No team will overly be rewarded or penalized based on the number of conference games it played. When head-to-head competition can't separate tied teams, team with the strongest overall body of work will earn the opportunity to compete for the ACC Championship and the conference automatics qualifier to college football playoff. All right, so what does that all mean? That basically just means, okay, head-to-head. If you won head-to-head, you're going to get it pretty much every single time. And if head-to-head can't distinguish you in another program, the overall body of work, that tells me, okay, conference record. Who has the better conference record between the two? If that is tied, who has the better body of work in the conference, right? Who beat some of the best teams in the conference, right? If the team was ranked, did you have more ranked wins, right? Those are going to be some things you're going to probably obviously look for when it comes to determining the tiebreaker in the conference. Now, obviously, it's not Miami related, but this is a big thing in the ACC Media Day as they decide to make this change of obviously the tiebreaker policy, because last year it was just too much. Yeah, 5 teams with 2 losses, and the team that most people thought shouldn't have been there got there. They didn't win it, and obviously Duke and Darien mentioned before, but they felt like they shouldn't have been there. All right, so that's a big difference. It's very interesting, obviously, say the least. But I think it's something that I had to amend this year if they were going to take a step forward. You don't want to have a similar situation like how you had last year. You want the best of the best to go. Not saying Duke isn't, but it should make a little bit more sense and be a little bit more clear. This feels like there's more clear language here, and obviously in order for it to go through. Okay, so that's all I got for you guys today. Appreciate you guys tapping in. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, hype up the video. You know what I'm saying? And make sure you share it and tell a friend, man. Appreciate all the Hurricanes fans in here. I'm going to try to continue to have content for you guys always. Over 14 views, man. Try to grow this channel as much as I can, man. Shout out to all the Hurricane fan base, the 305, the writers, obviously the analysts that cover the sport, and and continue to shine light on the Miami Hurricanes. Much shout out to y'all. Definitely enjoy it, and I'll see you guys a little bit later on in the next video. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and hype it up. And please comment down below. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. And remember, as always,